Everybody, this video is about the Kerrville pigs and election time in Texas. There's a guy by the name of Mark Passio, who's a former Satanist priest, has some natural law videos and talks about the pillars of Satanism. And one of the pillars of Satanism is moral relativism. There's no absolute right or wrong. Truth is relative. We just make up what's right or wrong. What's right or wrong is what we decide today, and tomorrow it'll be something else. According to Passio, 2/3 of the people in America are practicing Satanists, and I think he's being generous. I think it's more like about 90% because of all these 501c3 tax-exempt so-called churches that cannot speak the truth. The best they can do is half-truths and, of course, lies, which is Satanism. And anyways, Passio, who more would know about Satanism than Passio, being a former Satanist priest? Goes on about some of the forms of pillars of Satanism is survival, the highest law of Satanism. And these are all forms of mind control, too, according to Passio, and I think he's 100% right. Social Darwinism, certain classes of society think they're most fit to rule, postulates the survival of the most socially ruthless. Ultimate responsibility is in self-preservation, and that's where eugenics comes along, which is when the elite determine who lives or dies. And this is all pillars of Satanism. Another pillar of Satanism that we're going to be talking about today is order followers. And they're responsible for all of the atrocities in history. They just follow orders without thinking about whether it's a lawful order or not. Order followers are cowards like a street gang. They're willing slaves. And I think he's 100% right. If you think about it, he's 100% right. And this is Passio's YouTube channel. What on earth is happening? I would suggest you go there. He's got some great videos on order followers. Had to learn Latin in high school, and so he goes into the derivative of words and where all this stuff is coming from. And so he's a brilliant guy, got some great information. Anyone who's wearing a military uniform is an agent of the Roman cult. This is Article 10 of the Concordat of 1933. The wearing of clerical dress or religious habit on the part of layfolk is liable to the same penalty on the part of the state as the misuse of the military uniform, which was signed by Hitler with the Vatican, or the Roman cult, in 1933. Now, a bunch of nations have signed on to that too. I know the United States and Canada have, as well as the Lateran Pact, okay, which if you look it up, it's basically where Italy agreed to protect the Roman cult, and United States and Canada have signed on to that as well. Almost all so-called governments are bankrupt and owned and operated by the Roman cult. At common law, a sheriff would have a star only. At common law, there is no uniform. Some examples of order followers in World War II, war crimes tribunals. All the Nazis claimed they were just following orders. Well, gee, that sounds like they were Satanists. They either suffered death by hanging or spent the rest of their life in jail. Some of them are still hunted to this day. The Vietnam War, the My Lai massacre, they were convicted of murder. Today, order followers are everywhere, and we're going to be talking about some of the ones in Kerrville today. Things you see every day using the satanic philosophy of moral relativism are false flag operations, agent provocateurs, entrapment, and all court cases, actually, if you think about it, except unless it's a common law court, which there aren't any or very few, all court cases are kangaroo courts. It's Satanism. Anyways, these and if you think about it, entrapment is just an agent provocateur that got caught. But that's all the end justifies the means, satanic philosophy. Anyways, the word PEG is an acronym. It stands for Persons in Government Who Intend to Perjure Their Oath. It could also be called a wordism since it's also used as a word. Anyways, these Kerrville pigs assaulted me, falsely imprisoned me, stole my property, my image, my laptop, my carrying case, 400,000 Iraqi dinars, a cell phone, 8 million Vietnamese dong, and other currencies that I had in that case. And they did it under one of their fraudulent, fictitious color of law search warrants in a case that had nothing to do with me. Jeff McCoy, the Satanist order follower pig, sent me an email telling me I could come and pick up my laptop, which was over 400 miles away. Excuse me. And, I've been out of work for 4 years. So how am I supposed to drive 400 miles to pick up my laptop that he stole? And number one, and I can't accept stolen property. These people are thieves. So they need to compensate me is what they need to do, but they're not interested in that. They're a bunch of thieves. Anyways, Jeff McCoy, the accomplices of this little criminal enterprise is Jeff McCoy, the Kerr County Sheriff's Office pig, Carol Twist, who's his boss, his direct supervisor, another Kerr County sheriff, William Russell Holzer. He is the chief pig in the Kerr County Sheriff's Office. They're all operating in their private capacity, so they're pigs. Gregory Lucas, the Texas Attorney General Criminal Investigation Division pig. Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General pig. Eric Buski, Bryan Police Chief pig. Christopher C. Kirk, Brazos County Sheriff pig. And FBI pigs, unknown FBI pigs, and U.S. Marshals pigs. They were all there. This was on Valentine's Day in 2015. Anyways, another pig is N. Keith William, who was the 216th County Clerk masquerading as a judge pig, and Melvin Rex Emerson, who was another 211th. I'm not sure it was another district judge pig in Kerrville, and Bruce Curry, who was a criminal district liar pig. And so when acting to enforce a statute and its subsequent amendments to the present day, the judge of municipal court is acting as an administrative officer, not in a judicial capacity. Courts administrating or enforcing statutes do not act judicially, but merely ministerially, but merely act as an extension or agent for the involved agency, but only in a ministerial and not in a discretionary capacity. Okay, so fictitious color of law statutes equal clerks masquerading as judges. Okay, these are all Satanists, okay? Another case that talks about it's accepted rule not only in state courts but of the federal courts as well, that when a judge is enforcing administrative law, they're described as mere extensions of the administrative agency for superior reviewing purposes as a ministerial clerk for the agency he's bought and paid for. It's a show trial. It's a kangaroo court. Judges who become involved in enforcement of mere statutes, civil or criminal in nature, and otherwise act as mere clerks of the involved agency. So they were clerks masquerading as judges. They're nothing more than they're assaulting you with one of their satanic commercial transactions. That's what these Satanists do. A clerk masquerading as a judge was not competent to do anything judicial like issue orders or warrants. A clerk masquerading as a judge is operating in his private capacity and has no immunity. Ministerial officers are incompetent to receive grants of judicial power from the legislature, and their acts in attempting to exercise such powers are necessarily nullity. So this whore. Well, we'll talk about them here. This is the fictitious color of law statutes that were referenced in their so-called warrant. Okay, the Texas Penal Code 32.48, simulating legal process, and Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 18.10. And so it talks about their fictitious color of law statutes, and so that's what they were operating under, at least those, and probably other ones, I'm sure. So, which shows that they're clerks masquerading as judges, they're pigs. And there is the pig that signed the so-called warrant, okay? And so this is directed at all you people in Kerr County, okay? Circulate this around to people in Kerr County because this pig is up for election, okay? So we need to make sure these pigs don't get reelected. Okay, some of them are not going to get reelected, but they're appointed. Okay, but the pigs that get elected appoint the other pigs. So and notice how this in Keith Williams pig is calling himself honorable. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in a minute. And here's another one of the pigs, this Melvin Rex Emerson, another honorable type. And notice he's got his Bail Priest uniform on there. See that black robe? Okay, that's his Bail Priest uniform. And that's taken off the internet. Anyways, honorable was the title formerly given to the degree of fellowcraft. Okay, that's taken from the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. Okay, so these people are all Masons, and they're Satanists. Okay, Masons are Satanists. Okay, many of them might be involved in that and not understand that, but these people, these Bail priests, they know exactly what's going on. Emerson is wearing his Bail priest uniform in his picture. This is taken from the encyclopedia. I forgot to put that site in there. This is the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. Whenever you see any of our signs made by a brother Mason, and especially the grand hailing sign of distress, you must always be sure to obey them, even at the risk of your life. If you're on a jury and the defendant is a Mason and makes a grand hailing sign, you must obey it. You must disagree with your brother jurors if necessary, but you must be sure not to bring the Mason guilty. For that would bring disgrace upon your order. You must conceal all crimes of your brother Masons except murder and treason, and these at your own option. Should you be summoned as a witness against a brother Mason, be sure to shield him. Prevaricate, don't tell the truth in this case. Keep his secrets, forget the important points. It may be perjury to do so, but you're keeping your obligations. Okay, so these people are all Satanists. They're into lies and murder and all sorts of stuff, and they want to get away with it. Okay, so again, these people are all Satanists. This is another thing from the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, 1916 edition, volume 2, page 555 to 556. Perjury in municipal law. Perjury is defined to be willful false swearing to a material matter when an oath has been administered by lawful authority. The violation of vows or promissory oaths taken before one who is not legally authorized to administer them, that is to say, one who is not a magistrate, does not involve the crime of perjury. Okay? So these Satanist Bail priests, what they do is they can operate in their official capacity and their private capacity, and so when they're operating in their private capacity, when they're a clerk masquerading as a judge, they're operating in their private capacity. So then if you take an oath in front of one, it means nothing, and they understand this, and so that's these Satanists do. Okay, and so they put on this show trial, this kangaroo court, and they say, oh yeah, this is the truth, and the truth has nothing to do with what's going on in there. Anyway, so let's continue on. Such is the technical definition of the law, but the moral sense of mankind does not assent to such doctrine and considers perjury as the root of the word indicates in doing that which one has sworn not to do, or the omitting of that which one has sworn to do. Then it goes on and says, the old Romans seem to have taken a sensible view of the crime of perjury. Among them, oaths are often administered, and in general, a promise made under oath is no more binding in a court of justice than it would have been without the oath. False swearing was with them a matter of conscience, and the person who was guilty of it responsible to the deity alone. In other words, you can sit there and lie all day long, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. And so that's again these Satanists, Masons. The important thing to understand is all of these clerks masquerading as judges operate under civil law. Okay, how about Texas rule of civil procedure? I mean, it's all civil law. And so this is taken from Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, and it says civil law, Roman civil law are convertible phrases meaning the same system of jurisprudence, that rule of action which every particular nation, commonwealth, or city has established peculiarly for itself, more properly called municipal law, to distinguish it from the law of nature and from international law. Okay, so civil law, Roman civil law, and municipal law are all interchangeable, and this is all they work under the rules of civil procedure. So it's Roman law. This is what it is. It's all Roman law. It's coming from the Roman cult. That's exactly where it's coming from, people. This is their district liar, okay, Bruce Curry, and here's Ken Paxton, who was the Attorney General. He sent one of his hired thugs out there, Gregory Lucas, and so that brings these guys into it. And notice that smug smile he's got on his face. Hey, doesn't he look like a hero there? And this is the chief pig in Kerr County, Rusty Hereholzer. Okay, so again, all you people in Kerr County, you got to think about who you want running the show down there. Right now, you got a bunch of criminals running the show, and this is Eric Buski, who was the chief of police for the city of Bryan. Okay, because this actually took place in Brazos County. City of Bryan was nearby, and so they had some Bryan pigs that were there, and here's their ringleader, okay, and so and there is this little thing say join the Bryan Police Department, okay, and this is actually really good here. It says, will you protect and serve? Well, they have no interest in protecting and serving anybody except themselves. Okay, these people are Satanists. See, he's got his Baal priest uniform on too. Well, his actually, it's more like a Roman cult uniform. And then we have, and this is the county sheriff. Okay, and this is what. At common law, there's no military uniform, okay? So he is in proper, for common law, he's in proper dress, okay? There's no military uniform at common law. But he's the biggest culprit of this whole thing, okay? But he's got his deputy sheriff there that does have their Roman cult uniform on, and all his officers have military uniforms. But anyways, this is Sheriff Christopher Kirk, and the Brazos County Sheriff, and he's the one that's really responsible in all of this. It's also interesting to note that the Northern District of Texas, the U.S. Marshals, actually, this is in the Western District of Texas, or at least it was precipitated. Kerrville is in the Western District of Texas, and that office is vacant. Otherwise, I would have added him. Ty Morrill, okay, I sent a notice and demand, okay, again, designed to take away their good faith. Okay, and this is I served Ty Morrill, the Bryan chief of police, and so I actually, all the new ones. This is one of the older ones. This is 2008 when I served this, but in the newer ones, I always put in and subordinates and or successors. Okay, so this one I didn't. I just directed it specifically at Ty Morrill, who was the Bryan chief of police at the time. Anyways. But Christopher Kirk, I sent him one too. We're going to see that in a second. So Christopher Kirk is the county sheriff. Christopher Kirk is responsible to protect me and other people in Brazos County. Christopher Kirk and his pigs were operating in their private capacity. Christopher Kirk perjured his oath. Christopher Kirk is a Satanist order follower. Okay, and here's his notice and demand that I served on him by registered mail in 2008. And so he did not have plausible deniability. Okay, he was not acting in good faith, and I'm going to show you why. And he's the one. That's where the buck stops. You know, when the FBI and the Texas State Police came to see me, the county sheriff brought them there. Okay, they came in a county sheriff car, and the county sheriff, he didn't even come and talk to me, but he sat in his car and waited for them to talk to me. And then when they left with the county sheriff, and so. That was 100. They did that 100% correct. Okay, that's what they should be doing. The county sheriff is the one that's supposed to be protecting we the people. And Christopher Kirk perjured his oath and is in breach of trust and all sorts of stuff. I mean, he's the worst one, the worst offender of all of them. And I think he knows it. But so anyway, so as far as a warrant for arrest, any kind of warrant, okay, a capias, this is Tomlin's Law Dictionary, 1835 edition. There's two kinds of capiases, and that's why I'm bringing this site here, because there's a capias before the judgment, and there's one after, okay? And so we're talking about the one after is a judicial writ of execution that issues out of the record of a judgment. It's a writ of execution is what it is, okay? And so, but where there's a recovery, and the sheriff is commanded to take the body of the defendant in execution, have him safely so that he can have his body in court to satisfy the plaintiff his debt and damage. So they fabricate a debt, okay? And then so it's all about a debt. They fabricate a debt. They forge your signature onto a contract and fabricate this debt, and then they assault you to basically steal their debt, their alleged debt. Okay, and so, but the interesting thing is a capias is not a warrant of arrest. Okay, and so, and in Texas, that's all they do is capiases. Okay, and they even talk about the capias in Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 43.015, and so it tells you even what the text of it is. There are no lawful warrants. It's always a capias. Okay, so that was involving warrants. In this case, this was a search warrant, but that's information that everybody needs to understand. Kirk was not operating in good faith as required by their satanic, fictitious color of law Texas codes. I told McCoy and Lucas that when a judge is dealing with statute, that the judge is no longer a judge, but is a clerk masquerading as a judge. I told McCoy and Lucas that a clerk masquerading as a judge cannot do anything judicial, therefore their so-called warrant is a fraud and a nullity. McCoy's so-called search warrant is a fraud and a nullity. They're cowards. They're a criminal street gang. These people are nothing but thieves, okay? They stole my property, and now I got to go before their bail priest to try and get relief of some sort. This is actually taken from Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 38.23, and it's the first part sounds so wonderful. It says, no evidence obtained by an officer or other person in violation of any provisions of the constitutional laws of the state of Texas or the constitutional laws of the United States of America shall be admitted in evidence against the accused on the trial of any criminal case. Doesn't that sound so wonderful? Yeah, that sounds so wonderful. And then these Satanist horrors, bar member Satanists, go and put in paragraph B. It says it is an exception to the provisions of subsection A of this article that the evidence was obtained by a Leo, a pig, acting in objective good faith reliance upon a warrant issued by a neutral magistrate based upon probable cause. Okay, so first of all, there is no such thing as a neutral magistrate. They're all bought and paid for because they're all working under statutes. Okay, so they're all bought and paid for, and so this low intelligence thug, this pig, as long as he's got good faith, and that's the purpose of my notice and demand, to take away their good faith. Okay, and that's why they listed me as a terrorist, because they don't like having their good faith taken away. That's these Satanist pigs. Okay. Anyways, it's well documented that real peace officers are being fired because of objecting to having quotas imposed upon them. It is well documented that these Satanist pigs, like in Brazos County, Texas, and Bryan, Texas, Kerr County, Texas, they screen out intelligence people during their testing process to make sure that they don't have anybody that's intelligence doing their order follower job. They screen out intelligent people for their alleles. This is Jordan versus City of New London, the U.S. Court of Appeals that went to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the second. Case number 99-9188, Robert Jordan had a master's degree and scored too high in their test. He was too intelligent. I know several people who were not hired for these kinds of positions because they scored too high in the test. And this is an ABC News article. It's internet, September 8, 2000. A man whose bid to become a police officer was rejected after he scored too high on an intelligence test has lost an appeal in his federal lawsuit against the city. Okay, so the bail priests in their so-called court said basically that, well, while it's not a good idea, that he can go ahead and do that. Okay, so this is Title 18 under their fictitious color of law federal codes, Section 242. So they violated whoever in the color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom willfully subjection any inhabitant in state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to any deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the constitutional laws of the United States shall be fined. Okay, they don't want to fine them too much or put them in jail for too much. They want them to get back out so they can do it again. But this is, anyways, violating rights under color of law, and this is conspiracy. 241, if two or more persons conspire. Okay, there was all sorts of them. There was probably about 30 of them there. conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in any state, possession, or district to the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to him by the constitutional laws of the United States. And so, this is they have such nice statutes, and then they just completely ignore them because their bail priests want the business. Okay, that's the first thing they're going to do when you and I have been in the court so many times you can't imagine. And these bail priests want to dismiss it. They come up with all sorts of reasons why they can dismiss it because they don't want anybody being prosecuted for this. They want these pigs to get away with it so that they can bring them some more business. Unlawful restraint, that's what these pigs did too. Okay, a person commits an offense if he intentionally and knowingly restrains another on offense. It's no offense to detain or move on under this section if it's for the purpose of effecting a lawful arrest. Well, there's no lawful arrest. Official oppression, okay, a public servant acting under color of his law or employment commits an offense if he intentionally subjects another to mistreatment or to arrest, detention that he knows is unlawful, okay? For purposes of this section, a public servant acts under color of his office or employment if he acts or purports to act in an official capacity, okay? So they're acting in their private capacity, and they're saying, oh, we're acting in our official capacity. And so this is perfect for these pigs. Failure to identify. This is what they like to hit you with, okay? These pigs. They say a person commits an offense and if he intentionally refuses to give his name, residence, address, date of birth to a peace officer, that's the operative word, who has lawfully arrested. That's another operative word, okay? If they have lawfully arrested you, they've read you your rights, okay? A peace officer is operating in his official capacity. They were operating in their private capacity, and so there was the failure to identify doesn't apply. These pigs, they use that stuff because so they can get stuff out of you, coerce the stuff out of you, and they're fully prepared to assault you and drag you into their kangaroo court if you don't give it to them. Okay. Impersonating a public servant. A person commits an offense if he impersonates a public servant with intent to induce another to submit to his pretended official authority. Okay, that's exactly what they're doing. Knowingly purports to exercise any function of a public servant or public office, including that of a judge and court. Okay, and that's what these bail priests were doing. What Williams and they were impersonating a public servant and a court. Okay, they're nothing but a bunch of Satanists. They're thieves. Anyways, and it's a felony. Definitions: organized crime in Texas. A combination means three or more persons. There was three or more conspires to commit, and so they basically conspired. A criminal street gang, three or more persons have a common identifying sign or symbol. Well, they all had military uniforms. Okay, that's Texas Penal Code. Engaging in organized criminal activity, which is what they were doing, and aggravated robbery. Okay, they all had guns. They assaulted people, and so. This is all directing activities. A person commits an offense as part of an identifiable leadership. Okay, so all their bosses are directing activities of their criminal street gang. See, these whores, these Satanists in the legislature have to put this stuff in there to get them so they can say, well, we put this out there and it's up to you to prosecute it. Okay, so that goes back to the satanic adversarial judicial system where the clerk on the bench can sit there and play stupid. Anyways, this is all about organized crime in Texas, and there's lots of it. Believe me, these Satanist pigs are doing it all over the place. I filed a revocation of signatures into their kangaroo court case, and I filed a notice of void judgment, and both of them have magically disappeared. So why should that be a surprise? They stole my laptop computer, my cell phone, my carrying case, and my contents, and they still have it. And now I got to go before one of their Satanist bail priests to try and get it back or get some sort of remedy. I don't want it back. Who knows what the pigs have done to it? In doing this, I shall have occasion, incidentally, to evince how true it is the states and governments were made for man, at the same time how true it is his creatures and servants at first deceived, next vilified, and at last oppressed their master and maker. And ain't that the truth? That's that back when we had decent judges. This is Chisholm versus Georgia. That's 1793. A state like a merchant contract a dishonest state like a dishonest merchant willfully refuses to discharge. Okay, that's the same case. And that's exactly what's going on. These people are Satanists. They're assaulting you with one of their satanic commercial transactions. And that's exactly what's going on here. These people are Satanists, and judgment day's coming for these pigs. And because it brings into an action and enforces this great and glorious principle that the people are the sovereign of this country, and consequently the fellow citizens and joint sovereigns cannot be degraded by appearing with each other in their own courts to have their controversies determined, okay? So they haven't got a shred of authority, okay? I don't care what they're doing. They don't have authority to even talk to you. And they're just nothing but a bunch of Satanist thieves. Jeff McCoy, before God, angels, and these witnesses, I shake the dust of the earth from off my feet against you, and we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanist. Christopher Kirk, before God, angels, and these witnesses, I shake the dust of the earth from off my feet against you, and we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanist. Eric Buskey, before God, angels, and these witnesses, I shake the dust of the earth from off my feet against you, and we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanist. Bruce Curry, before God, angels, and these witnesses, I shake the dust of the earth from off my feet against you, and we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanist. N. Keith Williams, before God, angels, and these witnesses, I shake the dust of the earth from off my feet against you, and we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanist. Melvin Rex Emerson, before God, angels, and these witnesses, I shake the dust of the earth from off my feet against you, and we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanist. Ken Paxton, before God, angels, and these witnesses, I shake the dust of the earth from off my feet against you, and we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanist. William Russell Heerholzer, before God, angels, and these witnesses, I shake the dust of the earth from off my feet against you, and we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanist. Gregory Lucas, before God, angels, and these witnesses, I shake the dust of the earth from off my feet against you, and we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanist. Harold Twist, before God, angels, and these witnesses, I shake the dust of the earth from off my feet against you, and we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanist. So you get the government you deserve. It's election season for these Satanists, okay? Some of them are elected and some are appointed, but the elected ones appoint the appointed ones. So these Satanists are looking to get reelected. If you vote for them, then we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, okay? If you ever watched ever know anything about the technical remote viewers, it's a program the U.S. Army did during the Cold War, and when the Soviet Union collapsed, they canceled the program, and they used to remote view what the Russians were doing at the time, and that's how they knew what the Russians were doing. And so the point being is that what these remote viewers say is that everything is recorded on the fabric of space-time, and so you're watching this video, it's recorded now. And if you do not circulate this video far and wide to expose these Satanists, we'll be talking about this on Judgment Day, Satanists. At common law, they would all be put to death. It's my wish that they be put to death in the most conspicuous possible manner. And never, ever, ever give up. It is never over. Okay, these people are Satanists. I know thy works and tribulation. I know the blasphemy of them that say they're Jews or Christians, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. If you love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude better than the animating contest of freedom, go from home from us in peace. We ask not your counsel or arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. May your chain set lightly upon you, and may our posterity forget that you are ever our countrymen. It behooves every man who values liberty of conscience for himself to resist invasions of it in the case of others, or their case may, by change of circumstances, become its own. When shall it be said in any country of the world, my poor are happy, neither ignorance or distress is to be found among them, my jails are empty of prisoners, my streets of beggars, the aged are not in want, the tax is not oppressive, the rational world is my friend, because I am friend of its happiness. When these things can be said, then may that country boast of its constitution of government. Well, we have nothing to boast of here. We have the streets are full of beggars. The jails are full of prisoners. They're busting at the seams. They're having to build more. And it's because these Satanist order followers that are running around populating the jails. There is ignorance everywhere. That's why I'm having to do these videos, because the people are so stupid. There is nothing to be proud of here. But if the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take away any people from among them, he's taken away in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at the watchman's hands. And so this is my effort to make sure that I'm blameless on Judgment Day. Either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. You are now a watchman. Circulate this video far and wide. Other videos, Bankster Thieves 1, 2, and 3, Churchianity series, bankrupt corporate so-called governments, bar members. I've published over 200 videos, and these are just some of them. Copies of these documents can be found in my private group at Yahoo called Administrating-Your-Public-Servants. I have YouTube videos that are videos of private information shares that show these and other court citations that are available for a donation. Donations to support this work are appreciated. I prefer gold to silver coin, but as an extremely less desirable alternative, I can accept IOUs, Federal Reserve notes, PayPal gifts, checks, money orders. Send me an email for particulars. That last paragraph for all the Satanist revenue officers operating in their private capacity. If they think that I'm interested in some privilege or benefit, you can put your privileges and benefits up your rectal orifice. If you find this useful, then you need to pay it forward. If you don't know what pay it forward means, then watch the movie. You know that? My blog is sovereigntyinternational.wordpress.com. My website is sovereigntyinternational.fyi. My email is engineerwin@yahoo. My YouTube profile, Sovereign Living. My Facebook community page is Sovereignty International, but that's in the process of being deleted. My private group is Sovereignty International, and I'm deleting that as well. My Yahoo private group is Administrating-Your-Public-Servants, and my Google private group is called the same. The Facebook stuff, Facebook has been, they've been censoring my posts, and so the way you hurt Facebook is well, I have a video coming up to show how you can hurt Facebook, and so that's coming up. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. I hope you got something out of it. Please circulate it far and wide, and I hope you have a real nice day.